Good morning, Elmira Baptist Church. If you hear some crazy sounds in the background, they're working on our drainage system from the roof downspouts. Hopefully you can hear me okay and you won't be distracted by the sound of a jackhammer outside. Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. Very famous verses at Christmas time. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it, and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts shall perform this. I found a quote that I'd not seen before this year. Robert Flatt said, quote, "The giving of gifts is not something man invented. God started the giving spree when he gave a gift beyond words, the unspeakable gift of his Son." End quote. And I'm reminded again, for unto us a child is born. First thing on today's update, really important, you're going to want to take out your smartphone or your cell phone. We are changing church's phone number. Now, my personal phone number is going to stay the same. Cindy's personal phone number is going to stay the same, but the way to reach the church office is going to change. The new number, and I'm going to give this to you several times, so if you need to get a pen, a piece of paper, go ahead, go get that. The new number is 707-316-3027. 707-316-3027. Now this new number gives us some advantages over the old number. First advantage is that we can change our voicemail from anywhere we have access to a phone. Before we had to come into the office to change the number, and we've not had this recently, but if there was ever inclement weather, we could update that phone message without having to come to the office if the weather was inclement. We can also more easily change and update our voicemail message. It gives us the opportunity to have several messages that we can switch back and forth to. And then the new system allows for more flexibility because it has a smartphone component. So rather than come into the office to check our voicemail, we can check our voicemail from out of the office. And that should allow us to check our voicemail more often. The new system also will allow for clearer calls. Frankly, sometimes the staticky nature of the previous phone number was a frustration to me. But the most important reason, and really the sole reason we're changing numbers, is because our last number belonged to Verizon and they won't let us change it and they won't let us port it and they won't let us do anything with it. So we had to change. So here's the new number again, 707-316-3027. And that phone number is operational today. In fact, if you call the old phone number, you'll find that it's no longer connected. And we were under the impression it was going to stay connected at least through the end of this year. This caught us a little bit by surprise. But here's the new number again, 707-316-3027. And again, my personal phone number, Cindy's personal phone number stays the same. Now, here's our schedule this weekend. Listen carefully because it's very different than most weekends. We're going to meet on Saturday at 7 o'clock in the evening. 7 o'clock in the evening is our candlelight service for Christmas Eve. And I would encourage you, it's not going to be a long service, I would encourage you to make this Christmas Eve service a part of your family's tradition. We've been part of several churches now where they have a Christmas Eve service, and our children just grew up expecting on Christmas Eve we would go to that service to sort of kick off our festivities for that Christmas time. And then after the service, we have some special traditions at home. So just make that Christmas Eve service a part of your family tradition is what I'm encouraging you to do. That's Saturday at 7 o'clock. Now, Sunday morning, we're going to meet one time, 11 o'clock. Come at 11 o'clock, come a few minutes early, fellowship, talk with folks. In fact, I noticed last night, we had a service that was about 50 minutes long, and then people stayed for another 40, 45 minutes talking. It was wonderful to be a part of a family like that. So here's my point. You come a few minutes early on Sunday morning. We'll start right at 11. Not going to try to go extra long. When we're done, if you need to rush home, you go ahead and rush home. If you can stay and talk for a few minutes, hand somebody a Christmas card, give someone a gift, that's fine as well. And the church has something special for you this weekend. If you can either make the Christmas Eve service on Saturday or the Sunday morning worship, then we have something special that I would like to give to you. It's right, by the way, that we should meet on the Lord's Day, which is Sunday, to worship Him. We don't want to miss that opportunity. So keep Christ in Christmas. Make Him a part of your schedule this weekend. Sunday morning, my message will be peace on earth, goodwill to men. Luke chapter 2, particularly verses 8 through 14 for that. And it's another reminder to us that God wants what is good for us. After this weekend, the next time we will meet is the following Saturday, also at 7 o'clock in the evening for our New Year's Eve service. And that one won't be very long because I want you to get home and get to bed. Full day Sunday on January 1st, but that's next Saturday. So we will not meet on Wednesday in the middle of the week because we'll push that off until Saturday. The goal is to live stream the candlelight service on Saturday evening and again morning worship Sunday morning. You can join us virtually if you need to, but keep in mind that no holiday is more important than meeting to worship our Savior. Another announcement, if you would like your giving to Elmira Baptist Church to be included on your 2022 giving statement, we need to receive it by December 31st, or it needs to be postmarked. That is, delivered to the post office in a timely manner so that it's postmarked by December 31st. Now again, you give as the Lord lays on your heart. You give anytime you want. But if you want it included on your 2022 giving statement, we need to receive it by December 31st. We'll take an offering on Sunday morning, December 25th, Christmas morning. We'll take an offering on that day. And we'll also take an offering at the New Year's Eve service on December 31st. Again, if you want to give, you can give there, or you can send it in the mail. Just make sure it's postmarked by December 31st if you want it to appear on your 2022 giving statement. There are a lot of people who are sick right now. Some quite ill, some not so ill, some who've been ill for several weeks and can't seem to shake it. So please pray for each other, and if you know folks that are ill, please pray for them by name. Now let's go back and consider Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. Isaiah 9, 6 and 7. Verse 6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Now, Christmas Day is a celebration of Jesus' first advent. That is his first coming. We say it's a celebration of his incarnation. Jesus has always existed. He is, after all, God, and he is eternal. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, forever, Hebrews tells us. So Jesus is eternal, but he was incarnated. He took on the form of man and was born into human life, if you will, on the day that we celebrate as Christmas Day. It's a reminder to us that God keeps his promises. For unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given is a reminder of Resurrection Sunday, the day we celebrate his resurrection from the dead. He was bruised for our transgressions. He died to pay the penalty for our sin. That comes later in his life. But Christmas is a reminder of the incarnation, his first coming, that God keeps his promises. But there's information in these verses about Jesus' second coming. And I want to draw your attention to that. We sing about this when we sing Joy to the World. The fourth verse of Joy to the World, traditionally considered a Christmas hymn, is He rules the world with truth and grace. He rules the world. Now, I'm looking around. I notice there seems to be other people in charge right now. Nothing evil about that. We need human government. But when Jesus comes a second time, he's going to establish a kingdom. It says the government shall be upon his shoulder in verse 6. And verse 7, of the increase of his government there shall be no end. Jesus will come again. He's going to establish a government that is going to rule the world in peace and in righteousness and in justice. That's what these verses promise us. Notice that of this government there shall be no end. The end of verse 7, from henceforth even forever. This is that final government to be established. After Jesus establishes this kingdom, it'll never change. Second thing to notice about it, there's going to be order there. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it. It's not going to be a hodgepodge of things. There's not going to be corruption. There's not going to be people who are cheating. Boy, it bothers me now to see the disorder in our society. That government is going to be a perfect government, perfect order. The third thing, notice there's going to be judgment and there's going to be justice there. Criminals often escape justice on this side of that government. They may get away with things here, but in that kingdom, there will be perfect justice and there will be perfect judgment. And then finally, notice that God himself will do this. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. God won't require anyone's help or anyone's cooperation to establish this kingdom. Now, that isn't to say that there won't be saints helping him. The Bible tells us that Jesus will come with his saints. But that cooperation will just be voluntary. It'll just be an unnecessary accessory, if you will. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Even if all of humanity were to stand in God's way, he would still establish his kingdom. Even if they gathered up all the world's armaments and said, we'll fight against God. Oh, wait a minute, they're going to do that. It's called Armageddon. And still, in the end, Jesus wins and establishes his kingdom. I hope you'll rejoice and celebrate Christmas with me this week. It's a reminder that God keeps his promises. And while things around us look very tumultuous, things around us look disorderly and out of control, I can promise you that Jesus is coming again and he's going to establish a kingdom. One last announcement. There will be no update next Thursday. I'm going to be spending some extra time with my family this next week. I have some children traveling down from Oregon to be with us, and I'm going to be enjoying time with them. I'm grateful for the church's indulgence in allowing me some extra time off this next week. So the next update for you will be next year, 2023. You can see me on Thursday, the first Thursday of January 5th. Remember that we'll meet on Saturday, 7 o'clock for our candlelight service, Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for morning worship. I hope you'll join us for one of those or both of those, and this weekend you will keep Christ in Christmas.